Welcome back to 2C TV, your global news channel. We have some follow-up updates following the car ramming attack in the Liverpool city centre earlier tonight. We've just had the Merseyside police press conference, which I have a lot of questions on, the concept of a press conference and what actually happened at that so-called press conference. But we also have some shocking and horrifying updates on what actually has happened. Some more new information that we have now gathered about the moment, and of course what happened afterwards. We're going to give you guys all the updates during this live stream. Of course, get your reaction in the comment section and in the live chat. So earlier on we reported that there was a man that drove a car into the crowd, the Liverpool supporters who were out on the streets in Liverpool city centre celebrating their team's victory in Premier League and the new title. And of course the whole day was ruined after that. The initial update we had was that about 17 people who were injured. Now it's escalated. So let's talk about this press conference. We had to wait about 20 minutes, more than 20 minutes, as they were delayed. Then they said to us, the press are coming because it's a press conference, but we will not be taking any questions from the members of the press. They gathered everybody in the room, cameras, everything, no questions. They could have just released a statement. Then the police, Merseyside police, said that they call this an isolated incident. They did confirm that the 53-year-old British man was, the white British man was in fact the driver. The horrifying update, the details that we have is as follows. 47 people, innocent people, have been injured. 27 of them have now gone to the hospital. 4 of them are children. One of the children very seriously injured. We don't know how severe, but very serious. Another one who's also seriously injured is an adult. Unfortunately, we can now confirm that 4 people, the moment of the attack, they were trapped under the car. Now, the humanity part of this, aside for 1 second, what could prevent it? What could have prevented it? Road closures. The police claim that road closures and certain measures, including barriers, were in place. Were they? That road? That specific road? Water Street? How did a car end up there? There are serious questions. People need to be held to account about basic security measures. Now we're going to go through some of the videos again, and we have some eyewitnesses as well. So some new information we've just received about what may have happened. So this video is the moment before the car was driven into the crowd. You can see there's a bit of a clash between the driver and some angry football fans. That's all we had. Now, following this, after the guy was arrested, we saw something that we usually don't see. When there is an attack, whether it's terrorism or whatever happens, usually the police take control and people just look after themselves, they panic, whatever, they look after their loved ones. This time, people were furious. Even though the police took the guy away, they were trying to drag him out of the car. This is the level of anger you're now seeing in the United Kingdom. Things that we never saw before. Retaliation. They wanted to target the guy, even though he was already in custody. Then, of course, the whole thing kicked off and police were going around and pulling people away. Watch this mess. Now, we do have some new updates on the suspect as well, some new revelation about him. But there is one of the eyewitnesses in the previous report. We showed you guys some of the statements from eyewitnesses. There's another one that we can actually now show you. And this is a phone, well, it's a voice note on, I think it's on WhatsApp. It was a message that was sent to someone. Let's quickly go and listen to that. It showed, well, from one of the people who was saying who was there, what they saw. Of course, we have to allow the police to finish their investigation. We can't speculate on the motive of the actual suspect, but this is what people said on the ground.
So I've just phoned my nephew, Arlo, because he went and he's just answered the phone to me and he went, Jen, I've just nearly witnessed the murder. And I was like, what? I went, did you see the car? He went, yeah, I was right there. So apparently that fella was in his car and all lads were just punching his car in and all walls were opening his door and all that. And everyone was saying, pack it in, pack it in. And they were punching his car and he's just flipped it and fucking drove through them all. But he said before that, he went, there was two men fighting in the street, punching each other. He went, it was fucking horrendous. Yeah, he said he just looked like a normal Scouse lad. He said he was trying to get through. He said, and he said all these walls were pulling the car door open and everyone was like that, pack it in, pack it in. And then all the footy, like Scousers, all the footy supporters were punching his car and then he just floored it. It's fucking terrible.
Now, for those of you who might not understand the Scouser accent, if you're watching from all around the world, of course, yeah, someone actually said, is there a translation to English in the live chat? The gist of it was that the driver was there, the car was there, and people were obviously crazy, celebrating, and they confronted the guy, and he lost his mind and decided to become aggressive and accelerated. Things just escalated from there. Now, that aside, there is a statement from Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, saying thank you to the police and emergency services for their swift response to the truly shocking and horrendous scenes in Liverpool this evening. Thinking of all those affected at this very difficult time, the police are investigating and I'm being kept updated on the developments. That's all we've received from the Home Secretary so far, just a standard generic statement. Sorry about this, oopsie, and I don't know what's going on, but they're going to let me know throughout the night. There's another person who was on the ground, obviously earlier today in Liverpool, and saw what happened. And this is where we were talking about the security measures. So many questions now need to be asked about basic security measures. People need to be held accountable. Poor planning resulted in this. This could have been prevented if the police had barricades. The Merseyside police claimed they had barricades. How? What sort of barricades? How was that car allowed to be there if the road was closed? These are very simple questions. You don't need to be an expert to ask this. Let's go to that one.
I just think this absolute tragedy, what we're all witnessing now, mate, is like I'm going to swear, but who left this road open, honestly? Because all the other roads around the city are like blocked. From 9 a.m. this morning when I'm driving around, they was all blocked. And this main road here, this was a recipe for disaster, a perfect storm. And then poor people who basically been ran over there, it was like, this ain't no accident. Why have the council left this road open? And I'm sorry, mate, if that upsets people, but at the end of the day, people need to be held accountable for this. Because this is bang out of order, yeah, and I just want to leave it really there, because I think that's like I'm proper upset over this.
In the video, what are you feeling seeing that video?
Multiple videos, mate, and I don't know, like I say, the numbers, the speculation on like how many people, but the serious injuries going down. Do you get what I mean? It's like, and this road should never have ever been left open. It was inevitable. This was going to happen, wasn't it? So.
With, of course, today being a day of celebration for Liverpool, it turned so quickly after the parade had finished.
Yeah, I know, because that's what happens when you leave a road open, yeah, and everyone's bevied and cars are driving down. That's going to happen, and then people have been ran over because Do you know what I mean?
See, he's claiming that part, that road was not closed. So for the record, the main road is here. That's what it was actually completely blocked. Then you go here, right, the next road here, where you turn left, that's where it happened. That the crowd was everywhere. Multiple roads in that area should have been completely closed. Where were the barriers? That, you saw the footage. That was not just away from the celebrations and it's just a small crowd. It was a huge crowd, which meant they knew thousands of fans are going to come. One road is not going to be enough. Now, we also have some new information according to the Times. They are now saying that the suspect, the driver, apparently earlier on left the Hooters, the restaurant, the bar, visibly drunk. So people saw him, again, this is what the witnesses are claiming and reported by the Times just now, that he was also clearly drunk, right? Now, this is what they're saying. First, if that's the case, that's just insane. Why were they allowed to not close that road? Why would you bring your car to that part of the town when you know it's kicking off? There are celebrations, there's a parade. Again, I don't really care if they're going to use the alcohol as an excuse. Doesn't matter how drunk you are or sober, you would have known way before that that part of the city is just going to be impossible. Now we're getting more information. Let's just get some reaction from you guys first, ladies and gentlemen. First some super chats, then non-super chats. Say thank you for your super chat. Saying suddenly it's fine to give away critical facts that might prejudice the case because he's a white man. Well, the authorities have the power and the privilege to give any information, of course. But it's they did it very quickly this time. They are saying that after what happened in Southport, they want to make sure that they are quite transparent and quick, even though that press conference was 20 minutes delayed, 25 minutes or something, which was also a pointless press conference because they banned the reporters from asking questions. Just release the statement instead of wasting people's times. Just a waste of taxpayers' money as well. Cameron says, an isolated incident. Am I the only one who's seen this happen around 5-6 months ago and see it happening every year? Has the meaning of the word changed? Well, I believe they're talking about in terms of the motive. It's an isolated motive incident, whatever you want to call it. I think the main problem here is that questions need to be targeted towards the actual authorities on the day. That's the main thing right now. There were footage again about extra police presence and snipers apparently and all that, right? So that indicates there was high security. They were on high alert. Why not double check the road closures, have proper barriers? If you saw, there are police officers everywhere, right? Everywhere. One of those police officers could have seen a car going into that road. Why wasn't the car stopped by the police? Anyway, let's go back to you guys. We have Ivan saying, so many questions, it stinks. There hasn't been any focus on this really. I was following, before we came live, I was following the mainstream media channels as well to kind of see what they were focused on. Apart from that interview that actually GB showed, BBC News and Sky News and all these guys, nobody's questioning the basic security measures. The press should have been allowed to ask questions at that press conference. Someone should have asked the police, because there were also obviously people from the ambulance service and the other areas, right, who were giving a statement, short statements. Someone should have asked the police representative what happened. That doesn't require investigation. What requires investigation is the actual suspect, the motive, details of what happened, how it happened. Yes, we get that. And we can't speculate that because there's going to be a whole investigation on that. I get that. That's a whole different case. But simple questions about, you guys should know your brief right now. You're the representative from the police, right? You already have the paperwork days before, or even in the morning. You guys had the paperwork saying, what are the security measures? Can you answer the question right now at, well, it was an hour ago, the press conference. What were the security measures? Right? They didn't want the press to ask questions. I'm not even sure if those reporters would have asked this question, by the way, because you do know the so-called legacy media reporters, they don't actually focus on the real issues. Tony says, furious. The English have had enough. Even if this a-hole is not a follower of Muhammad, clearly the English people can't take any more. My heart is with the English people. Well, you saw the anger. You saw, as I said, something you never see. It's rare, where people, after someone is being taken into custody, people show outrage, and they were trying to kill him. They were literally going after him. That was absolutely insane, because usually people obviously assume like some sort of like terrorist events, Islamism, whatever, right? Usually you don't go towards the suspect. Usually you run away from it. That's usually what happens. This time, I mean, you could also make an argument that this is Liverpool. People in Liverpool don't give an F. Like, people in Liverpool, if they get angry, they're going to go for it. And that's what happened. But yeah, it's just tensions in society. It's just going high. Nina says the police cannot even control the Palestinian demos. Bloody useless. Yeah, I mean, why are we surprised? Yes, that is a very good point, Nina. They can't even catch burglars and thieves. They're very good at policing people's tweets and social media posts. Well, they're very good at that. Yeah, but why are we expecting them to do proper security measures? They can't tell us they had it. Because firstly, apart from that one man who we showed you, he claimed that the road was open, right? Forget about him. How was the car there? Massive crowd. How? And if they come back and say, well, he was drunk, he wasn't thinking. I don't care about him being drunk or sober. There should have been a barrier. A police officer should have stopped him. There were police officers everywhere. Misha says, was the car from Amazon? Ban Amazon again. Queer Stalin will use this against us, a black hole in the planning, because too many native Brits love their football. Yeah. Well, there are a lot of people on social media saying tomorrow the Prime Minister is going to make an announcement banning cars. I mean, at this point, wouldn't be surprised anymore. It's the level of chaos, stupid policy decision makers. Stu says, one of Dan's channels shows the police being incompetent. Well, that's shocking, isn't it? Lately, they've all been scouts. Coincidence? I mean, to be fair, Merseyside police in general, they have not really been that competent. Yes, I can confirm that. Sort of like the West Yorkshire police. Sean Powell says, not a great idea to drive during a trophy parade anyway. I know the car was attacked by people, but why would you be so short-sighted about making that choice in the first place? That's the point. Now forget about what he decided to do in that moment, right? Let's just say out of panic, right? You can't be that drunk to not realize it's probably best not to take the car there. Unless you hated the Liverpool fans, right? Or humanity. Denmark says, it's a distraction. The government has planned this. They are going to do something in the next couple of days while we are all talking about this. And Michelle says, everyone knew this was today. How did he get a car there? Well, that's the other thing. It's not like, it wasn't like a spontaneous last minute event where he was already driving his car. It's like, oh, what is this thing? If you live in Liverpool, you knew what was going to happen. You can't be that stupid. It's just excuses. Annabelle responds to the statement from the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, that I showed you earlier. She says, isn't that exact same statement as the Prime Minister? Yeah, not only just the exact same statement. Let me show you how this works. In case you don't know, the level of incompetence and laziness you are now getting in the political establishment. This is the problem. I'm about to show you again the statement from the Prime Minister. Now I want you to notice something. Most of you might not be able to notice this. What do you see here? I'll give you 10 seconds to tell me what is the issue with this statement. It's not, by the way, it's not the wording. There is a thing in this statement. Let me know in the live chat. Okay. This was drafted by ChatGPT. They just wrote the words and got ChatGPT to proofread it. That long dash, that's it, what we call a ChatGPT dash. The people who write, who are in charge of communications in our government, can't even write. Firstly, the Prime Minister himself clearly can't write a basic statement himself. He's going to have to get someone else to do it. And they get ChatGPT to proofread it. It's not really a rocket science as it's here. People can see. Yeah, ChatGPT, everyone's getting it correctly. Yeah, Chris says ChatGPT. Yeah. It's the double dash. Not only the Prime Minister himself didn't write it, they think it's supposed to be some sort of complicated statement. Let's get GPT. It's not, I'm very much in favor of using technology. That's not the issue here, especially to streamline all that. But certain things require basic human input. First things first, if you're the Prime Minister or the Home Secretary, in this situation, it's not a complicated matter. You're the leader of the country, whether we like it or not. Write it yourself. Just type it. Type it. It's not difficult. Just say, oops, sorry about what happened. I'll be back. I'm going to go wash my hair. That's it. The human input. We need your humanity. But ideally, you should post it yourself. But if you're not going to do that, yeah, you're busy, right? You can't be that busy. Just sit down for 1 second. You're going to get your team. Tell them to fix the ChatGPT dash because we can tell what you're doing. That's why the comment I showed you from Annabelle, they're the same statements. Why on earth would the Home Secretary and Prime Minister, their teams not coordinate properly? Just be original. What's the point of both of you releasing the same statement, basically? Ben Adams says the new invisible barricades were deployed for this one. Essentially, yeah. Yeah, it's not much to say when it comes to this security issue. Sue from the US says, in New York City, they block the roads with cones and several police cars in each end. The thing is, in Europe, that's not going to be enough. You've seen what we have to deal with in the continent of Europe. If you want to go to a small, local, tiny village Christmas market in Germany, in Sweden, wherever, oh, you're going to have metal detectors and proper, but basically build a whole wall and get Mexico to pay for it. That level of security. You know, if you use cones, people are going to laugh at you. This is how unsafe we are. That if you do, even what New York does, that we will die. So, and by the way, that's New York, which is a very dangerous place. But they didn't even do that. A police officer could have just been there in the middle of the road, and they do that all the time, even outside stadiums, every weekend when there's a football match. Just tell the cars not to go through if you're not going to have the metal barriers. Coffee and Cake says, how can we believe the police once they stated his motive? Well, you're going to have to go with what the authorities are telling us, right? That in terms of public speaking, unless you find new evidence. Obviously, people have to ask questions, question everything and everyone, including yourself, but we don't have access to the intel that they have. So you have to go with what they say until something new comes out. It becomes frustrating for a lot of people. But we saw the level of incompetence and cover-up, both incompetence and cover-up at the same time, when it came to Southport. Crucial information that was held. I'm not saying it's the exact same situation, I'm just saying you've seen the trend. And as Coffee and Cake says, well, what do we do? And I would say, well, you're going to have to trust it until they get proven wrong and you get proven right. It's a lose-lose situation. Yeah, it's a fair question here as well from Jojo saying, why were there snipers there? So if the snipers got there after the car ramming, that was very quick. They went and did a whole setup, right? If the snipers were already there, as we were saying in the previous update, that indicates that the security was on high alert, which means the security would have been high. It clearly wasn't. What was the point of it? Just for show? Unless, again, you always know in crowded places, big public events, MI5 have access to intel when they know something else could happen. And the snipers could have been there for that. And there could have been a whole different situation that we don't know about because the MI5 don't make things public, obviously. And they might have already prevented something different. And you could say that the sniper thing and that level of security was simply for something else and not necessarily fully coordinated by Merseyside police. Could have been MI5 and others. So it doesn't make an excuse for why Merseyside police didn't do proper security. Cameron says, maybe Starmer needed to sound compassionate with GPT. Yeah, ChatGPT make me sound more like a normal person. It still didn't do a good job, did it? Queer Starmer's silence is deafening. What a shame. Well, apart from that, yeah, I mean, you would think on a night like this, the Prime Minister of this country, shortly after, would just do a quick talk to the camera somewhere. Now, because of what's happened, and let's not forget, you're going to have to bring politics into this. It happened in Liverpool. You know what's going to happen, right? If not tomorrow, the next day, probably tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary are going to be advised by their team to go and visit the site. Especially if, God forbid, one of the people who are seriously injured, that's 4 of them at least, seriously injured, and 4 of them were trapped under the car. If, God forbid, one of them dies, they were definitely going to go. They're going to go visit it with flowers. And they're probably not going to talk to the camera. They're just going to be seen to do something and go and have a chat with the Merseyside police officers. It's just the usual charade. England Forever says, it's funny how these types of incidents don't happen at Notting Hill Carnival, but seem to happen where white people are. Well, Notting Hill Carnival gets a different version of chaos. A lot of stabbings. Just casual stabbings, right? I don't understand why that thing has still not been banned, the Notting Hill Carnival. Anyway. Helen Cole says, ChatGPT, Churchill wants to run for Parliament. One day, I guess, one day. Yeah, Transparent says, such a fake leader. It's sad. I mean, ever since the political leaders became more about PR and media image, and people like Tony Blair made it worse, since the days of Blair onwards. It's all about image. So if there's a situation where they have to decide what to do tonight, they can't decide themselves. He can't sit at home with his wife and say, you know what, wife, I think I should do this. I think I should go to Liverpool. No, he's going to have to pick up his phone, arrange a meeting with his advisors, then have another meeting with the civil servants to say, should we go? Okay, then when we go, what do we do? How should I walk? How many minutes should I be there? Everything is planned. It's fake. Everything has to be coordinated. Miller, thank you very much for your super chat. Again, this is what we're dealing with now. And we're going to keep you guys posted as we get more information about the suspect. Of course, we gave you some new information about what he was doing before. And what was it the police say was the 53-year-old man. So let's just have, we have Faye. Sorry, I don't want to miss this one. Faye says, Starmer doesn't care. Sorry, I don't want to upset anyone, as I know it's been awful what happened today. But it's true, he doesn't care. He's in his bed, sound asleep. He needs to resign. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.